And the crowd goes wild. Welcome to another edition of the South Bay's Leaders and Learners, where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners. And today we have another guest that
Yeah.
is running for office in Redondo Beach. We have the amazing, and I mean amazing, Joy Ford. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, hi,
Hi.
Joy.
Hello.
So, listen, you're running for city attorney. Some people
And
don't even know what the city attorney does. So, can we start there? What does the city attorney do, and why on God's green earth would you actually campaign to be that person?
that is a great question. The city attorney represents the city of Redondo Beach in lawsuits, and the city attorney is also the city prosecutor for all misdemeanors, state and municipal code violations. And I went to law school to be a prosecutor because I want to fight for victims. I want to fight for public safety and justice. And I've been in the office now for over a decade. And our fearless leader, Mike Webb, is retiring. And I want to continue our successes. And I am the most qualified person to do that. So I had to step up.
Girl, you are smart and sassy. I don't know if they're gonna be able to handle you up in there, up in there. But listen, have you experienced anything that would make you not want to do this? I know why you want to do this, but tell the people some of the things that maybe you didn't like so much and how you plan to kind of hurdle those obstacles.
Sure. I knew going into this campaign it was going to be difficult. I knew that becoming a public figure is going to be different. And when I made that decision, I had to have a serious talk with my husband. Hey, we're going to put our family in the limelight. We're going to put our kids through this. I had to talk to a lot of parents, to mothers and political figures, what to even children themselves who are now adults whose parents were political figures. And I said, how did this affect your lives? How are you going to do this? And so that was a hurdle. And something bad that's happened already. Well, obviously there are many public comments. There are people who dislike me. I'm not used to that, but I just have to accept that and do my best to treat residents all equally, even though they have awful things to say about me. And I'm going to continue to be as transparent and open to communication, regardless of the individual.
Joy, you came here when you were 5, right?
Yeah,
5? Were you
four,
5?
five,
4 or
four,
5?
four. Yes, I
How
think so.
does it feel to in this moment? Now, this isn't just about Redondo, but I do think Redondo is one of the more welcoming places. But how does it feel in this moment to know that you came to this country as an immigrant and you are thriving? And even though there's people that don't like you, we love you, girl. We love you.
Yeah,
Thank
we love you. I love you.
Thank you. I think we're in good times right now. I personally have not really experienced anything negative with regards to my race or my sex, although there are a lot of racist and sexist comments out there, especially on social media and some things that are said in public comment. But I am blessed to work in an office uh, where there's so much diversity in our office. Our office, other than Mike Webb, is all women, and we are all from different backgrounds. And when I go to conferences with women, with female lawyers, Filipino lawyers, they tell me how awful it is for them to work in an office where they can't get promoted, they can't get raises, they're not respected. There are no other women of their color in their offices like them. I sit there and I feel bad because I can't relate. I have all of that. I have a boss who respects me, who's been pushing me, who's been promoting me, who's been giving me raises, and is helping me grow. So honestly, I am so grateful and I feel so blessed.
So, Joy, I'm so glad to hear that. I have a question because not everybody knows the organization of the city attorneys, So our current city attorney is Mike Webb, and you also are an attorney for the city. Can you tell us what that structure looks like and what your title is and your job roles currently for the city?
Sure. Yeah. So city attorney Mike Webb, he is our elected city attorney. Under him, he has two assistant city attorneys, Melanie Shavira, who is our city prosecutor, and Cheryl Park, who is in charge of the civil side. And then under each of them, there are 2 senior deputies. So that's 3 criminal, 3 civil, Mike Webb, and then I'm a mix of both criminal and civil because I am the quality of life prosecutor. I do nuisance abatements or criminal prosecution depending on the violation. And then, of course, our homeless program.
That's great. I have a question about that. So there are folks, it's election time, right? Where we're supposed to vote March. Yeah, it's okay. March 4th is the day that we need to turn in our ballots. But there are people saying that it was not you who played a significant role in creating our homeless resources and our court. But my understanding is that I think you've done a lot for the program. Can you tell us what your contribution was and still is?
Sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was there at the very beginning. I was actually in maternity leave when the mayor and former council member Christian Horvath went to Mike Webb and said, hey, please address this issue. And I was called in while I was on maternity leave and asked by Mike Webb, will you please take this on? And at the time I had a partner, Ana Papadegas, another senior deputy prosecutor who's no longer with our office now because she left. She has a family that she wanted to focus on. We were asked to address this, and we looked at Mike Webb and said, you want us to solve homelessness? And he said, no, I just want you to solve it in Redondo Beach. I'm like, oh, okay. So, and at that time, there was also this transition happening with our mental health court in the county. It used to be just covered by the district attorney's office, all cases for all cities. And then it just became overwhelming for them. So they started giving back the city specific cases back to the cities to handle in mental health court. So that was new. And so I started taking on those mental health cases. I would go down to Metro Courthouse, and then it got transitioned to Hollywood Courthouse and handle our mental health cases, which obviously, or not obviously, but in most cases involve people experiencing homelessness, while Ana Papadegas would handle criminal court, and our amazing housing navigator, Lila Amora, would be in court almost every day with a client or two. She would wait hours for their cases to be called and to be handled by the judge. Well, that was not a good not a good use of Lila's time because she should be out there on the streets helping people, right? So they decided instead of Lila coming in every day, they were going to put all her cases on one day a month. So that became our homeless court day.
Okay.
And Lila could bring 20 to 30 people and just have all their cases called boom, 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 boom. Well, then COVID hit and it stifled everyone's progress. So our site judge and city attorney Mike Webb thought about bringing our homeless court outdoors. Well, I was there every step of the way. And in fact, since because of Mike Webb's health issues, he could not attend those meetings when we were forming this health court. I was literally holding my cell phone, touring different locations so that Mike Webb could see and be a part of these meetings, or holding my laptop so he could be a part of these discussions about how we were going to form the first outdoor homeless court in Los Angeles. And so, yes, I was literally there holding Mike Webb in my hand. And then, from there, I became in charge of getting the grants, slowly different pieces that other departments in the city that were related to homeless court started coming to our department because it just made more sense for us to report on certain things because we knew what was going on. So I was in charge of applying for grants. I'm in charge of reporting for grants, requesting the funding, making all those reports. And I did not go to law school to be a grant writer or to grant manager, but here I am doing all of that. And because I understand what these programs are, how they work together, they all connect to our homeless court, and homeless court really is the main component of it. So it's a lot. It's a lot.
So you're doing all this work. So obviously you are the person that has really been kind of charged with doing all the paperwork, but also ensuring that it continues to be a successful program. Is that,
Yes,
if
yes.
you were to summarize it? Mm-hmm.
Yes, and like I said, Ana Papadegas has since left our office, so now I am in charge of our homeless court. I am Lila's direct supervisor,
Okay.
and that's a 24/7 job.
Well, Joy, I got to tell you, I think as a resident in Redondo Beach, prior to the homeless court and prior to all this work, we did have an issue, especially on Artesia Boulevard, with just we had a lot of homeless folks, but there was it was hard because what do we do, right? Because they're human beings, and on the one hand, you don't want folks like on Artesia, you don't want folks in your driveway or on the bike path, because it's full for safety reasons. And, but on the other hand, you're like, these people are also human. So what do we do? But I have noticed, it's really to me, it doesn't seem like too much of an issue. Of course, here and there, we do have some cases, but not like before. And I feel like that is something we can attribute to the work that you've done into our homeless court. Would you agree with that? Or do you feel like there was some other programs that we have or other things that have contributed, or would you say that is primarily due to our program that we have here in Redondo Beach?
Oh, absolutely. It is the combination of all our programs, because although homeless court is the main component, we also have our pallet shelters, we have our bridge housing, our case managers that we contract with, and then Lila Mora, who's our city employee. They all work together, and recently the Council of Governments has recognized Redondo as being the first in the region to reach functional zero in street homelessness. And so all of that working together, partnering with the COG, partnering with the county, partnering with the state, getting all these grants and getting all the support and having them work together and not in silos like other cities is what led us to reaching functional zero. And now it's our job to try to maintain it.
And Joy, there's a couple of things I want to say. I know that our homeless court is like the envy of other cities. We share it with others, maybe Manhattan Beach or Hermosa Beach, and also explain what is functional zero homelessness.
Sure. So I think in 2022, Hermosa Beach requested that they become a part of our homeless court. So we are already contracted by Hermosa Beach to do their prosecution. So we prosecute their cases as their city prosecutor. And but at the time, we were not allowing any Hermosa cases as part of our homeless court program, as part of this diversion program. So I was the one who had to apply to the COG for a grant to expand our homeless program to then include Hermosa Beach and to pay for the capital improvements of their basketball court, I believe it is, the Kelly courts, so that we could have our homeless court there 4 months out of the year. And that was the exchange, that they would host it 4 months out of the year. And that would alleviate the resources that we use with Public Works, our police, in hosting. And then we now also include their cases. Functional zero is a definition that it depends on what city you're in or what agency is defining it. So it could mean multiple things, but in general, it means that there are less people becoming homeless than there are people going, there are more people leaving the streets than there are people becoming homeless. And so the COG specified that definition so that it's specifically about street homelessness. We are getting people off the streets faster than people are becoming street homeless. And then the people who are street homeless, they're on the street for less than a median of 90 days. So homelessness is short and brief.
That's fabulous. It's a wonderful thing you guys have achieved, and it's really vastly improved the situation in our city. I know that some of the origins of the community concern with this was on down here in District 2 in Broadway. Some of the churches, part of their ministry was just feeding the homeless, but they didn't supply anything else, not even bathrooms, it seems like. And that really attracted a lot of people and a lot of problems. So I'm wondering if there was any conditions put on those organizations.
So that was a big issue. That was really what prompted the mayor and council member Horvath to get involved, to get our office involved. And we did meet with the faith-based organizations. Now, they are not under any kind of permit or CUP with the city. They're grandfathered in. And
Okay.
so there are no restrictions on those faith-based organizations. But we did try to partner with them so that we can minimize the impact their programs had on our neighboring residents. And
Okay.
so we asked them to please provide restrooms, please bring them indoors, please. And they were very open to those suggestions. And because they were getting so many complaints from residents, I was attending meetings with the residents and the faith-based organizations to the point where they finally agreed, hey, let's have some kind of mediator so that if the residents have a complaint, they can go to a certain person, and then that person can then talk to the faith-based organizations and say, how are we going to deal with this issue? Well, then they both assigned me to be the mediator. So now the residents will send me complaints, and then I'm supposed to talk to the faith-based organizations about their issues. But after that meeting, I never got a complaint from a resident.
Good. That's great.
Yeah.
Listen, there are people weird people that think that the position that you are vying for should not be an elected position. What happens to that position if it's not elected?
Then it would be appointed. And then the second question is, do you appoint someone in-house or do you appoint a firm? And in my opinion, that is not a good option for Redondo Beach.
Because?
Well, first of all, it's gone to the voters multiple times in the past century, and they've always voted since the creation of our charter that this position is an elected position. Also, there's checks and balances with this position. The fact that it's an independent elected official that means that the city council cannot threaten this person's job, right? They can't say, hey, if you don't tell us what we want to hear, we're going to fire you. It's independent. There's that checks and balances. And I've heard from other cities that, every time a city council changes every 2 years, they can fire and hire a new city attorney. And that is not healthy for a city.
No, I think Mike Webb's longevity in the city has really served us well. I couldn't imagine if we get just this rotating parade of new attorneys, whoever they think, and they're not. There's good ones and there's bad ones. So we kind of like the good ones, and we like to keep them. I was going to ask about. I forgot. The check on the city council. It seems like the legal office of the city is the only check on our city council and mayor, other than voters every 3-4 years. Is that correct?
You're right. The voters, the city attorneys can stop them from violating laws and rules, and
Sure.
And I think the voters are a big check on our council in that they can file lawsuits against them and make sure that they're also abiding by the rules.
So we're in this together.
Yes. Yes.
I want to ask you, because I want you to make it clear for people that really don't understand. Girls, these people do not understand how government works, so I need you to help them, okay? You gave a list of things that you would be doing in your position. Give them some things you don't and will not be doing, because they'll come looking for you talking about Joy didn't do this and Joy didn't do that. Tell them what that position is not responsible for what Mike Webb is not responsible for.
Sure, yes. We are not responsible for defending elected officials, the mayor and city council on personal lawsuits. If it is not involving anything that in their official capacity, we cannot represent them in those lawsuits. We cannot represent residents in their legal losses. We cannot give legal advice. That would be unethical. That would be a violation of our charter to do so. We can direct them to some resources. We can point them to the municipal code. It says, here's what our municipal code says, but we cannot tell them what to do, how to do. If they have an issue with their neighbor and it's a civil issue regarding a tree, a fence, noise, those are civil issues that we cannot get involved with. Tenant landlord issues, we cannot get involved with those issues. If a tenant has an awful landlord, or if a landlord has a tenant who's not paying rent, that is not something the city can get involved with. We have a mediation service, a third-party service, not employed by the city, that we can refer them to, but that's civil issues we can't get involved with.
Thank you for clearing that up, Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is your vision when people get into seats, they get elected, they have the opportunity to make some changes, maybe? What do you see as the current position and stance and movement of Mike Webb that you may or may not decide to change when you get in there?
That's a good question. And because we have been so blessed to have Mike Webb, who's been thriving in this city and making our city succeed in so many things, it's really hard for me to come up with things. But I do want to see how we can improve our efficiency in the office. And I feel like I won't be able to know that until I've been doing the job, and to see really what it is everyone is doing and how we can increase the number of litigation cases in-house, how much we can, and we are trying to do that now, right? We've added a paralegal position, and that's going to help us significantly in increasing our cases in-house.
How much, so how much do you think, or maybe you don't know the answer, and if you don't, it's okay, but how much do we use an outside counsel for whatever currently?
I can't say how many cases we have definitively. Of course, I'm aware of the bigger cases. And the issue is with outside counsel, that's not always coming from our office or our budget. You know, that comes from risk management. That's a whole different department and a whole different budget. But what I do know is that outside counsel is approved by the city council. They are the ones who have to vote and say, okay, we want to hire this outside counsel to handle these cases.
So it is better to just keep everything, because I imagine it's a lot less expensive.
In-house, it is less expensive, yes. But we represent over 400 full-time employees in the city, and everything that goes to city council has to be approved by us. So it is then city council's decision, you know, as to what is their priority. Do we not look at these contracts, these agreements, these MOUs that the city is trying to get through, or not focus on these big complex cases?
Is it always the case that you hire outside counsel just because of their expertise, or is it caseload, or
it just depends. It honestly depends, case by case, and again, the city council decides.
Sounds good.
Have you ever declined a case? Have you ever said we can't do that, or has Mike Weber said, like, yeah, you might want that, or we're just, you know what I mean?
I'm not sure if I do, but Mike Webb will recommend certain outside counsel. Hey, this person specializes in this, or this person is number one in the field in this. We might want to consider talking to this expertise. So he'll make the recommendations, and then again, city council will decide.
Okay.
Very good. Well, look, we want to wish you luck. I ain't gonna lie. We all want you to win. Okay. Let's just.
Okay, fine. Yes. If you can't tell, I'm a big Joy Ford fan. I've got her banner facing the walking path.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so
Most
much.
people I know with a brain is supporting Joy. Sorry, point of privilege. I'm just saying. But we're happy that you were able to take some time and answer some of these questions, because I think an important part of this is understanding the job. It's not only understanding the job, but having experience in the job and seeing how this city works, how it works best, and how it don't work so well sometimes, and where you can step in and improve. So it really makes us happy that you were able to take the time, because we also know campaigning and you're still working. It's not like the city has stopped functioning now that, folks are out there campaigning, but you're working, you're campaigning, and you took time to come and speak to the community. And I hope y'all get it right. Okay. I hope y'all get it right.
Don't forget to
So
vote.
best of luck. Let people know how they can support you, if you still need support, and if they want to go to your website and check you out still before they finish making their decisions and putting their ballots in the mailbox. Hello, North Redondo, who is behind. Hello. But let the people know how they can get their life together.
Yes, please vote. Please vote before March 4 or on March 4. I am in huge debt right now, so please donate. You can go to forwardforcityattorney.com, and you can decrease my debt for this campaign. But
I thought people, just do this stuff and get rich. I thought that's how this worked.
no.
Really expensive to run for office.
So misinformed. I've been so misinformed.
But I thank everyone for your support and the people who have donated and volunteered. I am so humbled by the amount of support I've gotten so far. So thank you.
And Joy, I can't imagine, or I can't even think of anyone that's more qualified for the position than you are, because you've been there. There's just, even your opponent. I mean, that's beyond all those people. You're the person that it's just so obvious. So good luck to you. I hope you win.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. All right, guys. See you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for showing up to the podcast where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners. When you get a sec, take a moment, leave a comment. What you think about today's episode, and share it with someone that you know could use the gems that were dropped today. Follow and subscribe. You don't want to miss who's coming up next. You never know who could show up here and what they could say. For your professional needs, marketing, PR, communications, and leadership, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Sand and Shores, or hit us up at sandandshores.com. Again, thanks so much for showing up. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.